These things are just so fascinating, I'm not sure why.
Hey guys, how's it going? As of lately, I've had a bit of a nostalgic feeling for Beyblades. You know, those metal spinning tops where you let it rip and you battle with each other. Or, if you didn't play with them personally, you've definitely at least seen other kids at school playing them during recess or something. Beyblade was a somewhat short-lived interest of mine, but it's something I had a lot of fun playing as a kid. And even now, as you saw with the intro, I sometimes rip mine when I'm bored and I still find it fascinating. I have quite a bit of a history with these things that are basically fidget spinners on steroids. The first one that I got was Burn Fireblaze, or Burn Phoenix, and while I don't have that one anymore, I would often win battles at school with it. We didn't have actual stadiums at school, though one kid that I knew did bring his stadium sometimes. Because of that, most of the time we just played them on the floor, so most of my wins were by outspinning the other kids' Beyblades. I actually rarely won by knocking the other Beyblade out of the stadium. Speaking of which, the stadium that I had as a kid was not a very good one. I had the Bolt Blast Stadium, which had this spiral pattern in the middle that often caught the Beyblades in, so attack types with how they moved around a lot were ultimately somewhat useless in there. You couldn't knock the other Beyblades out of the stadium or into the pockets because of the ridge, so pretty much every battle was won by outspinning. That was the reason why I did not really like attack types as a kid, but little did I know I just had a bad stadium for them. These things were massively popular back in the day. Almost everyone I knew had one, and of course we would battle them constantly. I don't understand what makes the game so fun because, well, they're literally just spinning tops. It's a 500-year-old concept, maybe even older. If I had to guess, I guess it's the fact that you can customize them to basically create the ultimate Beyblade using different Bey parts, and they're still making these things today. I'm guessing because it's so simple in concept, that's allowed it to last basically 20 years and ongoing. Like, anyone can just pick these up and play. There's no complex rules that you have to learn or anything like that. Just either spin longer, knock your opponent out of the stadium, or if you're playing burst your opponent. Almost all of my Beyblades growing up were the metal fight ones, though I also had two of the original plastic ones from the early 2000s. Dragoon G was the first plastic one I got, mainly because I had also watched the anime for the first Beyblade generation, and while I liked the metal fight Beyblades better as toys, I actually liked the first generation better as an anime. It felt more relatable to real life, and it really wasn't, "Moses split the dang Red Sea with a Beyblade." This Dragoon Bey was also cool because it had a tip that you could wind up and it would give the Beyblade an extra burst of speed when it got launched. Somehow though, it's missing that tip now, and I don't have a left spin plastic generation launcher, so I can't launch it. This is so sad. I remember when I first opened a plastic generation Beyblade and unboxed the parts. It was so different from what I was used to doing on the Metal series. Where on Metal, you had the performance tip, the spin track, the fusion wheel, the energy ring that you laid them on top of each other, and then you took the facebolt and you screwed them together. Plastic Beyblades, kind of like Gundams or DIY model kits, they came in a runner frame, and you had to take the pieces off the frame, then you snapped them together. You actually didn't need a tool for this, unlike the Metal series. You could do all of it with your hands. I think you can also assemble the new burst ones by hand, though I don't have any, and honestly, I really don't have that much interest in them. Though I do think it's cool how they remade some of the plastic and Metal series Beys into burst form. Haven't watched the Burst anime, but I've heard it's more realistic in tone compared to the fantasy themes of both the original and the Metal series. I mean, the original and the Metal series Beyblades were so overpowered in the anime. In Metal, the things regularly busted mountains. A small spinning top that can bust mountains. Yeah, I think that's the biggest case of false advertising that I've ever seen. Anyways, enough talk about the toys. Let's talk about the drawing of Gingka itself. Ginka's design is honestly fantastic. I wonder if it was inspired by Naruto. He's wearing a headband and he's got a similar color scheme to Part 1 Naruto, and in turn he also has a similar color scheme to Goku, with the orange and blue colors, you know? All of his colors work so well together. The orange shirt, the blue coat, the red hair, not to mention that long white scarf makes him look great. I think Gingka is what made me realize that I love drawing boys with spiky hair and long scarves. I've made quite a few OCs that have long scarves like what he wears, and honestly, I love drawing them. I did use some reference for his Beyblade, Storm Pegasus. I actually never had Storm Pegasus, so I can't take pictures directly, but I did reference it from Google Images. Though honestly, since I'm kind of in the mood and I have a bit of money on hand, maybe I'll buy myself a Storm Pegasus in the future, since I see new in-box ones for relatively cheap online. I also might try drawing some of the other Beyblade characters, whether they be from the Metal Saga or the original series. Maybe I'll also do Ryuga and Masamune at some point. I also definitely have Tyson, the first series protagonist, or if you're Japanese, his name was Takao, on my to-draw list. Anyways, there's Gingka Hagane, all finished. Did 2 background versions, one blue and one orange. Let it rip! Or if you prefer, go shoot! That's it for this video, guys. If you want to see more cool speed paints and art in the future, subscribe! I also make an animated series called Eventia, so check that out as well. But until then, I'll see y'all next time!